Another weekend has come and gone in Major League Baseball. So what does it mean in a long regular season with the postseason not all that far away, nearing the middle of August? Soon our attention will flip more to football when an NFL regular season and a college football campaign begins, and then we'll check back in at the end of September. What will things look like around MLB? Let's take a look at the World Series odds as of this moment. The Dodgers still remain the favorites at plus 320. They're $1.50 pretty much in front of the Phils, plus 460, despite the fact that Philadelphia has been struggling since the All-Star break. The Yanks, the best margin out of the American League at plus 550, and the O's plus 750. We'll get to the teams outside of that. But, Donnie, really, despite the results on an ebbs and flow, weekly, daily basis around Major League Baseball, the top four have really remained the top four for the last 2-3 months in the bigs.
Yeah, by far the top four teams in Major League Baseball, just the way it is. And also the only reason why the Dodgers probably don't have even more of a lead right now over the Philadelphia Phillies is because they are getting this little bit of a surge from a couple of those teams in the NL West, where the Phillies look like they can just sleepwalk to a victory in the NL East, which means they'll get home field advantage. And maybe if the Dodgers get overtaken, they won't have that here. But it's not going to change down the stretch unless we have just disastrous injury after disastrous injury. I think we understand who the four top teams are in Major League Baseball, two from the American League, two from the National League, and away we go to see how it plays out and we'll see which team can stay hot at the end of September heading into October baseball.
Yeah, absolutely so. Now let's get to the reshuffling behind the big four, the four teams that have had the four best prices, the Dodgers and the Phils out of the National League, the Yankees and the O's out of the AL. Houston technically atop the American League West at this moment. The Astros have won 5 consecutive games, now the 5th shortest price to win a World Series at 13-1. Some reshuffling in the odds here. The Twins 14-1, Minnesota $5 in front of their divisional mate. That would be the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland at 19-1, despite the fact that Cleveland has a 3.5 game lead in the American League Central over Minnesota. The biggest move, Donnie, the Braves. 18-1. Atlanta was always kind of hovering after the injuries to Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr., and the Phillies supplanted them in the National League East with that 5th best price, 3rd best number in the National League. The odds makers having more belief in the Braves than either you or I. But Atlanta now has lost 7 of its last 8 games, the longest World Series price we have seen. It has moved back even from the graphic we showed you, and those odds were updated this morning. Atlanta now at 18-1, 7th best number to win a World Series championship.
Sometimes when you just don't have it. The Atlanta Braves just don't have it this year. You know, whether it was the injuries right out of the gate, the Strider and Acuna, I mean, you're not going to really rehab from that and come back. You got some great pitching performances, some unheralded guys stepping up to the plate like Chris Sale, who many thought might be done with nothing left in the tank. He might even win the Cy Young, and it's still not helping at this point. Ronaldo Lopez, who was so good for you for so long, now in the IL with a little bit of forearm tightness. It's just sometimes it's not your year, and it looks like the Atlanta Braves, quality organization, it's just not their year. And if you could just take a microcosm of one game throughout the season and say, how is it going for the Braves, Ben? It was yesterday, blowing that massive lead in the 8th inning here, where you can gain another game on the Phillies or just play some decent baseball before you head out to the San Francisco Giants. They lost that game yesterday. It's just what's happened for the Braves. Sometimes it's just not your time.
Losing a weekend set against the worst team in the National League, that is the Colorado Rockies. But both the Rocks and the Marlins, the two bottom teams in the NL standings, picking up a win yesterday against playoff contenders. Arizona and San Diego round out the top 10 in terms of the World Series prices. The Diamondbacks, of course, the reigning National League pennant winners, have won 15 of their last 18, 21-1. The price on Arizona, 23-1 the number on San Diego. The Pods have won 16 of their last 19. Donnie, as you forecast maybe the October outlook for either the D-backs or the Padres, who do you think is a better bet at this moment to actually contend for a World Series?
To be honest, I mean, you're probably it's such a tough question because again, they're tied. It's perfect to answer, but I just think overall, talent-wise, to be honest, it just might be the Padres at this point right now. Because also, you take a look at what they did at the deadline. How do you win late September games in October? A fortified bullpen. That's what they did. Slight edge right now for me for the San Diego Padres over the Diamondbacks, with two hot baseball teams with a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, both will probably be making the playoffs.
We'll take a look at the pennant odds a little bit later on and how things have been reshaped. But the Padres and the D-backs now both really up there with the Braves in terms of those National League pennant prices. The tier of two, the Dodgers and the Phils, remain at the top.